Chris Harrison and Kaitlyn Bristowe sat down to discuss their disagreement, but was Kaitlyn set up? On her podcast, Not Skinny But Not Fat, Bristowe discussed how she and Chris weren't clicking. She claimed she texted him 10 times and never heard back. Kaitlyn later stated that she ran into him at Wells Adams and Sarah Hyland's wedding and told him she missed him. He said he'd always been there, which she didn't like because it sounded like he was saying the ball was only in her court. Chris, for one, stated that the exchange was not awkward. He was conversing with her fiancé, Jason Tartick, while Kaitlyn was conversing with someone else. They exchanged hugs. Chris stated that she received 10 text messages in one day, 7 of which were corrections to her typos. Chris interviewed Kaitlyn Bristowe for his podcast, the most dramatic podcast ever, and stated that her podcast was not a cry for help. Rather, he perceived it as a lament for something she had lost, their friendship. According to US Weekly, Chris meant, "Hey, you know, I've always been here," when he said "I've always been here" to Kaitlyn. "I'm always available to you." He stated that when Kaitlyn and Tayshia Adams were chosen as mentors for the Bachelorette, he did not have the time to speak with her. During that time, he said he needed people who were unconditionally loving and caring. That wasn't what Kaitlyn was doing at the time. She was reaching out to see if he was okay with her appearing on the show alongside Tayshia. Kaitlyn now understands why he didn't reach out earlier. He seemed to be ghosting her at the time. Chris Harrison expressed regret for not being able to speak with both Kaitlyn Bristowe and Tayshia while they were negotiating. Kaitlyn believes they were given the title mentor rather than host in order to pay them less. When she started hosting, she said she gained a lot of respect for Chris. "There's a lot of time you put into it that the fans aren't aware of. They were set up," according to Chris. "You were doomed to fail," he said. Chris didn't believe there was enough room for 2 mentors. Kaitlyn concurred, stating that it didn't feel professional with the 2 of them because they were sillier. Chris believed that 2 women hosting The Bachelorette, with 3 total women including the lead, would be ineffective. What do you think of Chris' point of view on how Kaitlyn and Tayshia were set up? Do you believe their squabble was merely a misunderstanding? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below.